So today we have got a very interesting topic. The topic is when rules apply to everyone except the biggest. And I'm a professor in the organizational behavior area, and I will just start this conversation with some pointers, and then we will keep on adding our stories and experiences in this regard. So in organizational behavior, we look at things from two perspectives. At macro organizational behavior level, where we talk about different organizations and what they are doing and the impact on different stakeholders. And at micro organizational behavior level, where we go inside an organization and look into individuals' impact on how the organization is operating. So we look at this topic from both perspectives. So to start it off, we will discuss about the macro OB perspective, that okay, when in certain sectors or industry, one organization becomes too big, so big that rules are not getting applied to them. So what is the impact of that on the different stakeholders? So with this we can start. So you can think about the organizations in your sector, the top two companies, and the way they operate and how they get some other kind of treatment, maybe from the government or from different stakeholders, and we will start looking into it. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss. So just gather your thoughts maybe for 20-30 seconds, and then we'll start discussing on this. Is it all right, sir?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to start the conversation, may I invite Vishal sir to share his wisdom, his experiences in this regard.
Straightforward. You want me to start? So yeah, let me quickly introduce myself and then I think get started. So I'm Vishal and I'm COO for AccessifyLabs. AccessifyLabs is specifically focused on digital accessibility and inclusion. Been in the industry for more than 20 years now, out of which around 15 years into digital accessibility. I am IAAP certified accessibility professional and practice leader. So when I started my accessibility journey, I'm connecting the dots now to the topic. So when I started this journey, in my early career, like I was 4-5 years of experience and I wanted to lead bigger teams. So I went to my HR staffing and said I wanted to lead bigger teams. They put me on a project where it had around 70-80 people doing something. And I realized what they were doing, putting on the headphones, I didn't realize what it was. And when I finally looked at it, it was something called as a screen reader, which was, they were kind of auditing the applications from a screen reader's perspective. So screen reader is one of the assistive technology that is used by someone who is having a vision impairment. After doing a lot of things for around like 3 months, then the third party auditors came in and then we were still failing as part of compliance. And what I realized is there was something missing, that was user experience touch. And then we started hiring people, understanding the disability types and how it impacts on the digital aspect of it. With all this experience, I've been leading the Capgemini part of accessibility, then into HSBC Bank, ATOS as a head of India, and now AccessifyLabs as a global head of digital accessibility and inclusion. What I realized is I've been looking at the bigger organizations and where AccessifyLabs is like mid-small kind of an organization, ensuring that it is becoming big. When it comes to the behavioral part of it, when it comes to the compliance part of it, there are rules and regulations, compliances, documentations, everything plays at the bigger organizations, but still they are worried when it comes to hiring disabled people. Small organizations, they want to probably provide more opportunities to disabled individuals. I specifically go and train vision impaired individuals in Pune Blind Men's Association, where I ensure that they know how to audit the applications, they get certified, and they financially can become more independent and stable. So this is one of the aspects which I immediately thought, I did not get that 20 seconds to do the thought process in. But this is something which I started connecting the dots with the practice leading versus how it happens with the bigger organizations, and then how it is, though there are regulations, there are policies in smaller organizations as well, it is very much easy because they are not that much worried about that what is going to happen next, versus the bigger organizations are always worried that if individual who is having the disability, they will not be able to accommodate in the workplace for any reason, it becomes a problem. I think that's where I want to get started, and then I think I can come back with more
Sure.
thoughts with the connections.
That's an interesting bit which we have started, where we are now discussing the perspective of how differently able are treated by large organizations and small organizations. So very interesting thing to start off with. So over to you, sir. What you would like to add to this?
So I'm Amit. I work with SLV. So I think this topic is a tough one, right? Because you can find yourself in either side. Who do you compare with? You know. And I will try to put, for the sake of discussion, a few points which will take it to the next level. In a bigger organization, when they are trying to play, internally there is so much challenges, discussions, possibilities are discussed that before that step or program or that you want to disrupt in the market or you want to change the rules as you would like to discuss, there's so much has happened in the organization that before we come out and start playing in the market, there is a belief and there is a possibility has been reviewed thoroughly. And I think that's the role of bigger organizations to bring that new possibility to the market, which in a way can be seen that they are not playing by the rules. But that's where I see that there is a both side. If they're not using it for advantage, but to bring disruption, open up new market, new models, new operating things, then it's pretty much awesome. And they have the appetite to try it out. They have all the organization to support that thought process before they come out to the market. So that's a good way. They open up things and the risk appetite is out there. But if they're using it for their own benefits, then definitely I think things catch up. And I think the organization, government, everything, and one or the other point do catch up. It might look in a micro scale that they are getting benefit, but in a bigger scale, things do come up. So I see as an opportunity for them to try things, and their risk appetite is way higher versus small organization to get into a new field or try to change the rules for everyone. So for the good. So that's how I see, and probably that's the role big organization should keep playing, not for the benefit, but for the opening the new possibility.
Yeah. So in the larger scheme of things, basically they can disrupt the market, they can bring new things in the market, they can change the way the business is being done. So it's kind of a responsibility also being a big player, and also the risk you can take because maybe you have deep pockets. So both ways it can work. So thank you, sir. So your perspective in this regard.
Okay, very interesting perspectives. Thank you so much. Firstly, thanks for organizing this forum. I think it's fantastic that you're trying to get academia and corporate professionals together. We really appreciate this forum. Interesting topic, as he mentioned. It's a tricky topic in some sense, right? I'll probably give you. By the way, my name is Milind. I work for Allstate, which is a global insurance company. I'll probably give you my perspective on two counts. Count number one is deeply personal for me, if you will. I work in insurance, or I've spent almost 18, 20 years working in insurance, which you could argue is one of the most regulated industries in the world. Just like banking, right? Anything to do with financial services has a lot of regulations. And you could argue that those regulations mean that the sector is ultra safe, especially the big players, right? You could argue that. One of the first employers I had in my life was AIG. And when I worked for AIG, it was the biggest insurance company in the world by far. It was the most powerful insurance company in the world. And we used to sell AIG policies to customers, telling customers that you're literally buying gold. 30, 40 years down the line, this policy will be like gold, okay? It would have been unbelievable for me to imagine that same AIG, in probably 1.5 decades from there on, had to be bailed out by the US government. Had to be bailed out because it was on the verge of collapse. I would have never imagined it in my dreams, right? So somebody as big as AIG in a very, very regulated industry needs a bailout, right? Now there are ethical considerations of a bailout, which we all know about. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is that true capitalism? If something is too big to fail and it fails, is there a huge cascading effect across the ecosystem which will cause a lot of consequential damage? Probably yes, right? And I think there are rights and wrongs there. I don't want to get into that, but the moot point here is that who paid for it? The shareholders, right? The companies which got bailouts, the executives eventually over a period of time walked away with huge bonuses. But the shareholders are the ones who bore the brunt of it, right? So that was one perspective. The other quick perspective, because I would definitely want everybody to give their views, is I feel one of the fundamental issues in our industry, especially in the regulated industry, is that sometimes it is a playing team which is paying the referee. And what I mean by that is, if you look at all these major audit agencies, look at the Big Four, look at everybody, or look at even the large rating agencies, look at the S&Ps of the world, look at the Big Fours or any other auditing agency. When they are doing an audit, they are doing an audit on a company which is paying them, right? What is in it for them to truly come out and say that there is something dramatically wrong with this company? The incentive is very, very low. And you have seen, right from Arthur Andersen and Enron onwards, what you have seen is that typically that is the start of a collapse. Typically that's where things go wrong, because large audit firms, for that matter even small audit firms, don't have a very good incentive to truly be impartial and truly do what they have been assigned to do. And to me, I think that's a fundamental issue that has to be eventually addressed. Because you can call an industry regulated, but if the referee is being played by one of the playing teams, there is an inherent systemic issue.